All right, condolences to Kobe Bryant and his family. I just want to go ahead and get that out the way before I start talking about Georgia Tech football. Georgia Tech was 3-9 last year. This year they returned their top passer and James Graham. They returned Jordan Mason, top rusher. They returned the top tackler, David Curry. Last year, uh, Georgia Tech stopped um, Miami from winning the ACC Coastal Championship. They upset them. That was one of their 3 wins. It might have been Canassus or somebody like that. I don't know what the other win was. Might have been Duke, but let me see who the other win was versus. Oh, they beat South Florida last year. That might be one of the reasons why Charlie Strong is gone. Uh, uh, oh, they beat NC State last year too. Wow, shocking. I'm not really shocked, but I think Georgia Tech is going to be a lot better next year. Uh, if you look at their schedule, I mean, they played Virginia Tech. They got blown out by uh, by Virginia Tech and Georgia, but they played Virginia close. Played Pitt close. They lost by 10. But I can see them making a turnaround this year. The schedule consists of Clemson open week, just like last year. Clemson will be ranked number 1 in the nation. Probably coming into the season. Garner Webb, uh, Central Florida, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Virginia, uh, Pitt, Syracuse, Notre Dame, Miami, Georgia. You might not be by record because this is such a hard schedule because how good Notre Dame going to be next year, how good Georgia's going to be next year. Duke is a toss-up anytime you play them. And how good Clemson's going to be. And Central Florida probably be pretty good next year, too. So it's going to be a toss-up next year for Georgia Tech. I can see them going 5-7, 6-6 next year, making a bowl. But Georgia Tech has a rich football history. Think about it. They have 4 national championships. 1952, 1991. Put that in some perspective. Georgia has 2 national championships, who's considered to be their rival. And they have won a national championship recently, more recent than Georgia has. They won an ACC title in 2009. Compare that to Miami. Miami's that's been since Miami been in the conference. Miami has none. So Georgia Tech has a good football history. Academics, it's hard to get a lot of great talent in there because their academics is so tough. Just like you see at Boston College and Duke, but they're in the hotbed of Georgia, Atlanta, right there in the heart of Atlanta, off of I-85. So I'm expecting them to be good these next couple of years. I can't tell you they're going to be good enough to beat Clemson and Georgia with the way those 2 schools recruit, but they're going to be a player in the ACC Coastal. I could tell you that much. And I'm not a Georgia Tech fan, but when you got the state of Georgia to get all your talent from, that's a lot of talent. And most, only Texas, California, and Florida has more talent than Georgia. So it's going to be interesting to see what Georgia Tech does this year. Transitioning from that, keep transitioning from that triple option that Paul Johnson won. And Paul Johnson beat Clemson a couple times. I think that one was 4-4, 5-4 versus Paul Johnson. So much respect to them Yellow Jackets. We're gonna see what they do in the first of the year versus Clemson. But I know one big thing about Georgia Tech football. They got a home and home with Alabama in 2030 and 2029, I believe. So that should be interesting. Everybody knows that Georgia and Georgia Tech is a pretty big rivalry, but I know people realize that Auburn and Georgia Tech is a pretty big rivalry too, and they haven't played in some years. If you know anything about football, Georgia Tech and Auburn played one year back in the day when they used to catch trains, and the Auburn fans put grease on the track, and the track didn't stop inside the city of Auburn, wherever they play their games at back in the day. And Georgia Tech had to keep walk from a certain distance, tied out their players, and Auburn beat them in football. Just a little trivia information, but we'll see what the Yellow Jackets do. All right.